I had a guy ask a question the other day about breakers. I thought it would be nice to go over these different breakers and tell the difference between them. Now the issue in question was, he said, well, he turned on his breaker in the panel, breaker for something like an air conditioner, I don't know what it was, but he said when he turned it on, it kicked the main breaker. Well, that's a main breaker right there. That's a 200 amp breaker. And he may have had a 20 or a 30 or something like that on the appliance that he was turning on. And he was wondering why this breaker would kick off when the other breaker may not kick off at all. So let's take a look at, let's say, a 20 amp breaker. Now here's a little low 20 amp breaker. Now it's a single pole, you could have a double pole in here, but a little single circuit breaker. Well, why would this not kick off? It is 20 amp, you can see right there it says 20 amps on it, and a 200 amp will kick off. The difference is primarily price. I pay, I don't know, $3 or $4 for this thing, maybe $5. It's cheaply made. Now, you can say it's 20 amps, why would it kick off a 200 amp breaker and not this one? The answer is, it's actually quite simple. If I have a dead short in the circuit that this thing is handling, that dead short is going to draw far in excess of 200 amps. There's plenty of power out there. You know, you got the entire grid behind you. And so once there's a dead short, there's a massive amount of power goes through these breakers. And the 200 amp breaker in the panel cost about $80. Well, if it costs 80 and this costs 5, what do you think is going to be built better? It's going to be the 200. The 200 amp breaker is actually a safer breaker because it kicks off faster than these little cheapy 20s. And it's just a question of money. I could build a breaker like this that had the quality of the 200 amp, but I'd be paying $80 a piece for them, and that's going to make my panel pretty expensive. But just understand, when you're talking about these breakers, it isn't the rating of the breaker that makes any difference. It's way above the rating. That's, you know, it's a dead short is way above the rating. Now, if this thing was drawing 30 amps or 40 amps, this would kick off and the 200 wouldn't. This won't kick off right away. If it's running 30 amps and it's a 20 amp, it'll be a while before it kicks off, but that's the way they're designed to work. And the higher the amperage, the faster it kicks off. If it's in excess of the 200 amps, that 200 amps is the best safety breaker you got. It is going to kick off first because it's just a higher quality breaker. Okay, real simple one. Hope this helps.